What's up, y'all? My name is Syllable. This is Mr. White at
Yo,
From the Jump Hip Hop Podcast, and we're gonna do a live reaction now to Magic 3, featuring Nas with Hit Boy. We got one feature where we got Lil Wayne on
uh-huh.
one of the tracks, but yeah, we're gonna do a live reaction to this. How you feeling before we start?
I'm really intrigued, right? This is the kind of the sixth installment with
Yeah,
him and Hit Boy. They had a really good run here. Magic 2 was okay. I
yeah,
really liked Magic 1. So it looks like people have been kind of raving on this. This is our first listen through, so you'll get a very organic
yeah.
reaction from us. Like,
First reaction.
yeah, we haven't pre-listened, really got
No.
any thoughts built up on this. I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah.
Nas has been doing a great job.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. He's released 80 tracks in the past few years. It's like past 2 years or 6 months. I don't know. It's insane how much music Nas has released. But we got the first track coming up is Fever. So let's go ahead and just give it a quick listen. Now, because of copyright rules, we can't have the entire song on here. So we'll just play a few snippets and then we'll take a listen. We'll just hear what it sounds like starting out. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a listen. Nice. He's going represent, represent. A callback to his earlier tracks.
Yeah.
It sounds really dope. I'm liking it so far. I'm liking it
Very
so
smooth
far.
start to the project. I mean, he has some good energy and flow there. Definitely some cool lyrics in there talking about being an OG and all of that, and being in just a totally different phase in his
Yeah,
career. I like the start of it. I mean, we'll see what we got from here.
yeah. Let's keep listening. Yeah, I can get with this. I can get with this. Is a nice start to Magic 3. I'm just gonna say right off the bat, Magic 2 was okay. It felt like some of the it felt like kind of some throwaway tracks. The last track is probably my favorite with the Magic Johnson track talking about his life, his goals, and parallels with sports, as well as literally rapping about Magic Johnson. So I love that the last track from Magic 2. So for Magic 3, it's starting off pretty strong. I like Fever. I think that's a great track. What do you think of it so far, Mr. White?
I like it as well. I think it's like inviting you to kind of like a classy kickback type of party. You know what I'm saying? I feel the energy, but it's not like crazy house party. It's like sophisticated, right? Like he talks about having your champagne flutes and stuff like that with your
Yeah,
cigars. That's at this age where I'm at right now, that's my type of vibe, right? So I like the energy he's
yeah,
bringing, even though it's not like super dynamic or over the top. I think it's a very smooth introduction to the project. So
I like it.
let's see where he goes from here.
Yeah, it was nice. Cover my gold teeth, cuff links waiters, lobster sauce on aprons, pardon that's the chef, burgundy on the breath, uncertainty when I step. I like that. I like that. As we see Nas moving beyond his street survival level when he came out with tracks off Illmatic and things like that, we see him embracing this life of being more of an established businessman, being someone more established in the hip hop culture, but also being able to say, hey, I'm actually not just about shooting people up and getting bitches and things like that. I also want to live a really nice lifestyle that matches all the hard work you put into it. Because Nas worked tirelessly for years to build his empire, and an empire he does have. Is he the king of New York? What do you guys think? Do you think Nas is the king of New York? He's got my vote over Jay-Z. Just
Yeah.
just to be honest, all you got to do is listen to Ether. I mean, still ain't getting it. So
Pretty clear cut. Yeah.
pretty much. And so the next track up that we have after Fever is Tisk. So let's go ahead. We're gonna start listening to Tisk and cue it up on the playlist. So let's see how Tisk begins. Okay, so we got some kind of chorusy sounds in the background, starting it off. Punch him in the face.
Nice.
If rappers were presidents, I would get Trump's vote. Oh man.
And I like how he's keeping the same energy as the first track. Like he didn't like go a totally different direction.
Yeah.
Still very smooth, very elegant. Definitely some harder hitting lines in this track though, and kind of basically letting people know, they watching his swag, they jocking it, they
Yeah.
see what he doing and they trying to follow in his footsteps. Pretty typical braggadocio
Yeah.
flow, but it's a very calm energy to the track where it's like he knows he's got the flavor, right? Like he's not trying to figure it out. And I
No.
like that.
I think it's dope. And then again, matching with the first track that we see him talking about living this final life.
Yeah.
Because what's the point in getting money if you're going to use that money to go back to the same gangster shit on the street, endanger your life, endanger your family's life, and then
Yeah.
have to have the repeating tragedy that keeps going on and not breaking that cycle? Because he comes up and he's talking about pull the tails off shrimps, some beyond blonde, sipping some fine wine. We just some shakers. So when Planet Rock came out, the Bronx, I was watching the boom boxes. It's nice. And then with Nas's characteristic flow, where he has this almost spoken word approach to hip hop, I can't say it in the same way Nas can. So when he's on
Nah.
there, he's doing slant rhymes, end rhymes. He's doing interesting things with his tones, and his interaction with the beat is very uniquely developed. One of the things we can say about Nas is that he's put his stamp on hip hop history with his unique flow. And I think
Absolutely.
that's dope. So let's go ahead and continue listening to the rest of the track. These are just a few initial thoughts. So let's go ahead and press play again. And again, because of copyright, we can't play the full song on here. So we listening, but hopefully you listening too and vibing right with us on this track. That is Tisk, second track off Magic 3 that we're live reacting to right now. Let's go ahead and continue playing. This is nice. This is real nice. I like this track. I like this track again because we hear Nas expanding his repertoire where we're linking the past to the present. One of the lines that I really like is he says, I mainly invented rap by banging on tabletops and taking on any competition. And listen, they put hammers to your ribs, but I'm too legit to quit. And that brings back so many memories of being in middle school, being in high school, banging on tables, creating a 4/4 rhythm and rapping or having classmates rap and things like that. That really brings back a lot of memories for me of coming up where and a generation for me as a 90s baby is having hip hop finally in school in a way. In the 80s, you didn't have hip hop in school. It wasn't really there as prevalent as in the 90s. In the 90s, we saw hip hop really prevalent in school in a lot of places like that. So I love that he's having such visual imagery of his journey from, you know, doing tabletop raps to literally selling at arenas.
And I like the way that Hit Boy's production is kind of it's going up and down. So like as he gets more energy, the drums come in, and then
Yeah.
it kind of goes back to that calm state again when he goes back into the chorus. So like it's that really defined switch up, and you could tell the parts of the song. A lot of that I feel like it's getting missing more and more nowadays, where it's like you can't really tell the hook from the verse, you can't tell different parts of the song. He also has a little part in there. It's like, what time is it, Hit Boy? He's like, it's showtime. And it's like,
Yeah.
so,
It's
you
nice.
know, those different elements of creating an entire song versus just rapping, right? Like anybody can rap. Like, can you make something that's intriguing to the ears? And I think this is, like I say, a great second track. Like, so far, two really solid tracks.
And what track do we got up next after this?
So the next track that we got up is Superhero Status.
Superhero Status. So that's a very promising title.
Yeah.
It reminds me of there's an RTD2 song that it's got a similar title. It's got something about superheroes in it. I can't remember it at the moment. What was that RTD2 song? Y'all can let us know in the comments. But it's got a promising title. Third track on the album. We're gonna go ahead and take a listen real quick and see what it's like. Let's go ahead and do a first listen. Oh, wow. I love this vocal sample already. I know this is gonna pop off real nice. Oh, this is nice. Audio, dope. Yeah, yeah. Oh, this is nice.
Man, he's getting it. 3 for 3 right now, in my opinion.
Okay,
3 for 3, right?
so
I mean, I'm already liking this way more than Magic. Magic 2, like I said, it sounds like a mixtape to me. And
it was all
the
right.
reason why I say it sounds like a mixtape is you just take a collection of songs, you throw them on a project, you call it a mixtape, right? Like you don't really have any rhyme or reason
Or a
or
theme.
synergy.
Yeah.
Like all of the beats are kind of like they're smooth, like especially with the vocal sample. But when those drums come in, it's hard body as hell. And
Yeah.
then Nas is really, his the syllables that he's kind of packing into one line. I don't even know how he's getting away with it.
Oh,
You
this is
talk about with Nas where
oh
it's like
god. That's
sometimes you
dope.
feel like he's on beat, sometimes he's not. He's really in the pocket on this song.
Yes, he's really in the pocket and he's experimenting with a faster flow.
Yeah.
Nas is not typically a fast rapper, but he does intersperse fast rhymes, fast couples into
Yes.
this. This is a faster track. I think so far this is my favorite track off the album so far. I really like this track a lot. We're talking about Superhero Status. We're live reacting on Magic 3 by Nas, the third in the Magic series. And we also have KD 1, 2, and 3 as part of the series too. And some of the lines that I love so far in the first half of the song. We're going to pause in a second and listen to the second half of the song. But for this first reaction that I have to this, what I really love is that he's putting these longer words together that other rappers may not be able to actually sound good without
What,
sounding
like
like they're
Black
trying to
Thought is probably the only artist I could think, just like right now at the top of my
using big
head, maybe
words.
ASAP
Yeah,
Rock or something like that.
using big
And making it
words
sound good.
that actually doesn't sound like you're trying to cram too much in a
Yeah.
bar. But he's saying that should keep you peaceful. Instead, delusional, mood illusions, refusing to see the truth is a shame that you personal. Like it's just like,
Yeah.
man, he's got his unique flow characteristic of Nas, but now he's altering. He's giving us something fresh that we haven't seen in the two prior tracks right now,
Absolutely.
where he's showing you that he can be flexible and he can flex his lyrical muscles. We're seeing that right now. Let's listen to the second half of the song that we're listening to for Superhero Status off Magic 3. This
No
shit is
cap,
really
this
hard.
shit is hard. Like
Definitely.
I'm definitely a Nas fan. I ain't gonna lie. I've said it many times, but this is great work from him.
Yes.
Like, I'm gonna come back and listen to it.
He
this
literally
project.
says he's a sheik. This is great. This is great.
He's going in.
Yeah, I'm a
going
sheik.
in.
She don't need to fly to Dubai for it. Like, wow. Wow. That I love that. That's dope. That's baller. All right, so let's finish the song. Let's see how it goes. Dope. Audio, dope. Audio, dope. That's such an
Yeah,
interesting
nah.
refrain. It's like an ad lib, but it's part of the song, and it's one of those things that it just pulls it together.
I would consider it a true bridge, right? And then like the way he's chopping it up, almost like Jay Dilla, Ninth Wonder style with the beats. That's one of the things about Hit Boy that I don't think they give him enough credit for.
Yeah.
Him being, more so, our age and probably younger, for him to still be able to make these beats that sound like they're from the mid to late 90s. It's hard, like because you have to have studied that sound to really have that flavor, right? And he's the synergy on this is just crazy, yo. What's
Well,
that next track, man?
as a comic book nerd, I gotta say, I like it when rappers talk about superheroes, and we saw that first with Nas Morales
Yeah.
talking about the into the Spider Verse latest movie that came across the Spider Verse, right? And you can check the reaction to that on our channel as well. Check
Yeah,
out our other
who did it
videos.
better? Was it Metro Boomin or Hit Boy? Because we
Yes.
still having that debate because we feel like Metro Boomin didn't really give Nas enough space. Like we know that it was a soundtrack song, but I feel like Metro Boomin was trying to outshine Nas on there instead of
it's like
letting
a
Nas just go
2 minute
harder.
outro on a song. It's like here's a few bars, and then if you watch the movie, you don't even really hear that
Yeah,
in while
yeah.
the movie's
I
playing.
didn't hear it.
I,
Yeah.
I was looking for it, waiting for it, but that's cool. It's cool how someone who has been characterized as a gangster rapper back in the '90s, in the era where the FBI is trying to ban NWA from playing on radio waves,
Yeah.
he's still coming full circle though. And he's, you know what? Despite the fact that rap may have been typecasted by a lot of people external to the community as only about crime, guns, bitches, and weed, we have Nas adding dimensions here with this superhero status track. And I love that. I love that. It's nice. And I think it's really dope. So the next track that we have up on Magic 3 that we are live reacting to right now coming up is I Love This Feeling. So now as someone who was kind of I have a love-hate relationship with all of Drake's music, pretty much. Old Drake, I really enjoy. I like it when he's actually rapping. New Drake for his recent projects. We're in Austin, Texas. He recently came to Austin, Texas. I was talking to one of my friends, and she said that one of her friends wrote, "I hear that y'all are fucking. That I've heard you fucking fans, Drake, on a Sharpie with a Sharpie on her bra, threw it on stage, and that pretty much typifies the Drake fuck music that he's making or fuck boy music." So I'm listening to it. All I'm hearing is R&B singing. I'm not really a fan of that from Drake. Drake is great. I think when he's trying to floss and do his old Drake style, I don't really like what he's trying to do right now. So that is a big preface to say that I'm apprehensive about this track. I don't know if this is going to be a love song, if this is going to be a slow track, if Nas is going to try to do some crooning on here. I hope not.
I don't.
I hope not.
Come on now. I think this is not the direction Nas. Just knowing Nas right now, we 3 tracks in. He's not going that direction.
Okay, but
not yet.
I'm
man.
worried. I'm
Not-
worried. Okay. So I love this feeling of Magic 3. We're going to go ahead and get into it and see what this sounds like in just a second. Let me go ahead and cue the track up as I'm doing so. I'm going to go ahead and also say that do you think there's going to be another King's Disease? Do you think he's going to stop with 3? Is that the last one?
I mean, I think he's saying something like this was the closure of that saga. I think he could definitely drop another project at this point without question. Because I mean, he's got the flavor to just keep going. But I don't know if he wants to keep in this.
Okay. This track starting up. Magic 3 live reaction. You got this song. I love this feeling. Live reacting.
You a trick or in
Okay.
love with your own dick.
Yeah.
Distractions come in all
Okay.
forms. Like
Okay,
what the hell?
so this is definitely not auto crooning here. This is not
Yeah.
auto tune crooning. We're
Nah.
definitely not seeing a Drake R&B version of Nas here. I love the lines already into the track in the first verse. Nas is going,
You against morality? Don't come around me.
oh, it was great. He's going homicidal vinyl section where they always found me by the motion picture soundtrack Richard Roundtree on the album sleeve. I just love the syllable play there, the way he's making that come
And
together.
it's interesting. This song, I feel like this project is definitely where he's kind of taking a shot at his haters. Like he's making some narratives, but he's kind of pointing out the fact that he doesn't really like all of this fake flossing shit that's going on right now. He thinks people are really caught up in whatever they're caught up in, and it's not allowing them to succeed. And that I think that is a very true statement for the world. I mean, we got fucking plastic surgeons on fucking TikTok trying to fucking do doctor work and they're filming surgeries, and then they crying about losing their jobs because they botch your surgeries and shit. It's like, we live in this
Wow.
clout chasing world right
I
now.
have not seen those videos, but that sounds really fucked
No,
up.
no, like, and she's like, and then she cries on the fucking, oh, I lost my job. It's like, bitch, you're dumb. Like, you're a fucking doctor. Like, you're just like patient privacy. That shit doesn't like cross your
Oh
mind
God.
when you fucking. I don't
All
know.
right.
It's
All
just
right.
it's a weird world we
Well,
live in,
I
and Nas is
okay.
calling it out for sure.
Well, okay. So there's always this kind of schism between old school heads, new school heads, and then the general public who just listens to whatever the radio plays, right?
Yeah,
And so Nas has for years been towing that line between being an outdated old school cat to actually being someone who is a relevant force in the music industry. And I think this is probably one of the best rap career comebacks that we've seen from an artist that comes from that earlier era. We're talking about Nas getting started in the 80s, debuting in the 90s. Just it's incredible to see that he's able to command the stage at this, at 50 years old. Also, what's dope about this is that it's kind of coinciding with hip hop's 50th anniversary. And to think
yeah,
about a musical genre, like look at classical music, this is going back hundreds of years.
uh-huh.
Hip hop's 50 years old.
Yeah.
That's insane to think about that. So, and then Nas turning 50, it's nice to see that linkage here where he's kind of celebrating both like vintage wine,
And
you know?
sometimes with lyrical rappers, especially when they start talking about more serious content, they can come off preachy.
Yeah.
Nas has an amazing ability to keep you interested, even though he's dropping all these knowledge bars. It could just be his cadence, maybe the smoothness in which
Yeah.
he approaches the track with. But it's like it makes you want to listen more, even though it's like he's definitely a dad rapper at this point, right? But it's like
Yeah.
it's interesting, it's intriguing, it's definitely compelling. So
So we're listening to I Love This Feeling right now, which is the fourth track I think off
yeah,
off the album. So let's see what the chorus sounds like. Let's see what the chorus sounds like and how we feel about the chorus live reacting. So instead of doing like a 4 bar chorus repeated twice, Nas does simply 8 bars, one after the other. Again, what strikes me about Nas and one of the reasons why he is one of my top favorite hip hop artists is that his visual imagery is always very distinct. He's talking about, I keep it calm, watching it all play out like it's supposed to. Old dudes playing chess in the park, old dudes playing chess in prison, staying on good behavior for extra visits. I mean, to think about the fact that he's got fans that are in prison, fans that are young, fans that are old, and the fact that he's talking about playing chess in the park, which is definitely something that's a New York thing, probably more than any other place. Is definitely New York. You're going to see those cats doing speed chess with the buzzer and the bell every 2 seconds. Can we win a game every 2 minutes? That's dope. He's included in that. So we have this kind of nostalgic view on life as always. But he's also saying in the ad libs or kind of like a bridge statement, if you don't have a team that's militant, you better be brilliant. And I like that as well because we all know that sometimes it isn't about having the best rap abilities, but having the best team around you, you
yeah.
know?
But also him kind of giving that understanding of even if you don't have a great team or to overcome not having a great team, you're gonna have to basically be perfect, right? And so it's stressing the point that you probably want to have that
Yeah.
militant team around you. And it's just it's a struggle, right? I mean, you just because you want to be successful. He talked about that in the last song, actually, where it's like it's rappers that are harder that you never even heard of, right? That never made it. And that's typically what happens, right? People with talent don't always get seen because they don't have that right team around them.
There are plenty of people that are diehard fans of hip hop who have never heard of Nipsey Hussle, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot because he had a specific niche,
Yeah.
and not everyone's going to hear about him because he wasn't commercially promoted by a lot of the
And he kind of
standardized
got more commercialized, like,
later on.
unfortunately, like towards close to his death.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, if he would have had a chance to live on, I think he could have got that popularity. But yeah, I mean, he was a independent artist that was making waves with his own strategy
Yeah.
that nobody else was doing.
Similar to a Tech Nine, who
Yeah.
created his own record label, created his own distribution process and own advertising, and was able to make 9 million a year.
Yeah.
So this is dope. So let's see how the second verse on "I Love This Feeling" of Magic 3 live reaction goes, and we'll go ahead and play some of that right now, and let's see what the second verse has in store for us. Man, this is fucking dope. He's talking about soundtracks that his songs have been featured on. We would talk about flossing. We have all types of claims that people have made about how hard they are, how gangster they are, how much money they have in hip hop. But with Nas, it's easy to check his pedigree. He's talking about, I think it's harder. He says, Cold Part, Illmatic, all the way through that episode of Ozark. I think that's harder than if I co-starred a ghetto symphony. I'm Chief Keef Cozart mixed with Mozart. This is this is incredible. This is heavy
Yeah.
hitting bars if I ever
Yeah, I
heard them.
mean, he not if this is the last installment in this series, he not playing with y'all.
No,
He giving it to y'all. Like
so
what
far,
if you were questioning whether or not
Nas could bring it.
Magic 2 was like a bump in the road, I think so, right? Like it was like maybe Magic 2 was the B-sides to Magic 3.
Maybe so. If you've ever seen that show Ozark, I believe that's Jason Bateman that stars in
Yeah.
that. That's depressing as fuck. There is never a moment in that show where you're like, oh, good,
Yeah,
this happened.
nah.
It's like, no, you fucked up. Oh, here's another way to fuck up what was
Yeah.
fucked up even worse.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because
Always fucking
Yeah.
owing his soul to
so
the
so I
company,
can
man,
see
you know
why
what I'm
like the
saying?
showrunners of Ozark would choose Nas to have played on the soundtrack of this kind of like, this is the real talk. You don't have options. What the fuck you gonna do? And a lot of moments that in Ozarks, but also he's talking about I'm Chief Keef Cozart mixed with Mozart. Oh man, he's not pulling
I mean,
punches
it's
here.
accurate. I mean, he started off as a street rapper, and he's evolved not only just lyrically but musically as well. And man, this is a dope project so far. I mean,
I'm I'm,
I
I'm a
mean,
fan of all of it.
track 4, like although you were like, I'm not sure, man. Nah, man, he not singing on here.
I wasn't sure if he was
Nas ain't
trying to
gonna do
pull
that.
like
He ain't gonna
a
do that to
ladies
us.
track, Drake move, but no, he's pretty hard
Nah, he
hitting.
going rounds. He
From the
going
first
rounds,
moment I
man.
heard homicidal vinyl, I was like, okay, this
Yeah.
is this is not an auto crooning love song gonna put me to
I don't
sleep.
think he gonna have no love songs on here, to be honest.
Well, we'll see. And but I want to see what his outro is because Nas always has some nice kind of spoken word outro stuff where he gives you the real. That's nice. So I like how Nas has such a expansive catalog that he can rap about his other tracks that were already considered classic tracks within his lifetime. And he was talking about at the beginning. He made a callback to "It Was Written," so that's pretty dope. So what track we got up next after "I Love This Feeling"?
After I love this feeling, you got no tears.
Okay, no
So
tears.
like I say, I mean,
Let's check this out.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he lets up because so far I like all these tracks.
Yes,
He's 4 for 4 at this point.
I have enjoyed the first four tracks. I don't have any skip tracks yet, so let's go ahead and take a listen to the fourth track. I mean the fifth track, "No Tears." Okay, "No Tears" starting off. It's kind of an awkward beginning. We'll see how it plays out.
I'm
All right.
it's got a very
It's all
Kanye
right.
West vibe to it.
Uh,
Like I feel like uh,
so
it's
so
giving me
far,
very much like Donda vibes. Like it's very like cinematic,
I
but I don't know
guess.
if I'm really
So
vibing with the
so far
track.
for the first verse, I'm not feeling it. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
say straight up, this. I'm not feeling no
this ain't.
tears so
Yeah,
far.
this ain't it.
I don't what it feels like to me for the first verse. I haven't even heard the hook yet, but the first verse of No Tears of Magic 3 by Nas. So far, my feeling on this is it sounds like a throwaway track that was like more of an ad lib track. I could see this played as an outro to a more hard hitting track, but as a standalone track by itself, I don't think so far it has the strength to do
Yeah, this
that.
gonna be the first one where I'm kind of checking out on.
Yeah,
I'm not liking the beat.
no,
I'm not really liking his
I'm
flow.
not feeling this.
It's
Let's go ahead and check out the chorus and let's see if that has anything better to promise us. So now let's play the chorus coming up. Nas is talking about the tears on his face just stopped. Okay, so first let's talk about the beat. I think the beat here is not serving Nas that well.
no.
Now, the first thing I will say, so I'm a fan of Hit Boy. I like the work that he's done, but here I like parts of it. I like the kind of atmospheric, ethereal, chorusy sound with lots of reverb that expands the sound space. It sounds multidimensional, so it gives a very I guess just deeper feeling than something that sounds more of a 2D feeling. But then we get to the
But
snare.
but
Let me the snare.
yeah, I was
I
gonna say something
hate
about
the snare.
it's that drum corps
This
marching
the snare
band,
sucks.
and it's not really doing anything to support the song.
Now,
I could definitely
now's
hear like 808 and Heartbreaks,
yeah.
Kanye with some auto tune on here. Maybe Kid Cudi coming in and doing something interesting.
Right.
I think Nas's
Yeah.
voice doesn't match this beat at all.
Well, I could hear a Kid Cudi track on this. I could hear Kid Cudi rapping on this.
It's not a bad.
Definitely.
It's not a terrible beat. It's just not.
It doesn't match.
It doesn't
So
match.
so Nas has his very poignant rhymes. Often he raps on the first beat of the second bar, right? When he starts one bar, but his punchline, his end rhyme at the end of his bar is on the first beat of the second bar, or it's the opposite. He'll wait half a beat or something like that. So he's got a very distinctive punchline delivery format. And when you combine that with this kind of soft snare that kind of rolls off instead of hits like pop, pop,
And it's kind of frustrating because he's saying such deep stuff. Potential, but what's potential if we all missing our mental and what you've been through can mess up what you into.
yeah,
You
I
know, so
like
it's
that line.
like that's dope, but it's like it's not being brought out on this track. This No Tears track is just it's not really hitting in my opinion. Like,
Do you think
this,
you think he's doing a play off the Tupac Tears track?
I don't know.
You know,
Yeah, I don't know if I hear
because
that per se. I just know that it's a very ethereal sounding track, and Nas is kind of like in the center of
yeah,
it, but it's like he's almost lost in deep space or something
yeah.
like that.
I mean, yeah, it's just he. I don't know if he's into it. He sounds like he just woke up. He's kind of just like this is not
This
Sleepy
is how
Nas
we
rap.
were before we had our coffee this
Right,
morning. Like
exactly.
we're like,
Trying to wake up from late nights last night, binge watching shit.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
it's kind of got that vibe too because of the stuff he's talking about. Where
got
one chick coming in the front door, one coming out the side. It's like you
got
don't know where he at right
no.
now.
got the essentials to murder an instrumental. You didn't murder this instrumental, Nas.
I
You
mean,
didn't
he
murder
tried.
it.
No, he tried to. Like he had the lyrics to murder the track, but you're not killing anything on this track.
No.
Like you know, you're
Well,
gonna be
well, Kendrick would said he's killing the vibe.
like,
But then if we doing a Nas versus K Dot, I got Nas all day because
yeah.
the worst tracks Nas has had still are better than Kendrick's, or some of the worst tracks Kendrick has.
I mean, this one's pretty unusual. It's
Yeah.
just unusual, and I think that as far as what else is gonna be on here, I'm 100% sure that there's many better songs on this project than this.
Look, I like Nas, but I don't want to hear about him crying. That's not what I'm coming to this song
Well,
for.
I mean, I'm fine with it, but he's not. It's not like a Kevin Gates crying type of situation.
I'm gonna cry and shoot you at the same time.
Exactly.
Clack, clack.
It's just the emotional appeal isn't there. Like, I mean, but I get maybe what they were going for with the Ether Read, right? You talking about no tears, so
I like
it's kind
that.
of like it's a solace type of thing going on here, but it ain't for me.
I think it's a missed opportunity where he could have had this as a hidden track,
or
even.
throw a feature on here or something with a singer
Don
or
Tolliver
something,
or something
somebody
like
to
that.
fill up that space.
Yeah, I do feel like there was too much space. I feel like that it wasn't enough to carry it forward because you lose some of the momentum when there's too much of a gap bar to bar.
Maybe even like a Travis Scott beat switch up where you like blow my mind because you come in with this ethereal track and then all of a sudden you go into
just going hard, right? Second verse is just like bam.
Okay, I didn't expect that, but
that'd be dope.
That's
that'd
not
be
what's
dope.
happening. I doubt there's gonna be a switch up. Let's finish this up.
What we got next?
You already on it.
No, I don't need to hear the rest.
All
of
right,
the
this
song.
is the Never Die. This is the only feature on here with Lil Wayne.
Okay,
it's got 20,000 views on Genius, so I'm assuming that people are really vibing with this, or at least want to hear what Nas and Lil Wayne sound like. I'm not sure what that's gonna be like, but
what's the last Nas and Lil Wayne track that you've heard?
I don't know. I don't know where that collab has ever happened. I mean, I'm sure it's potentially happened because it's been a long time, but
yeah,
Nas isn't a big feature guy, so I mean, it might have been on like some DJ Khaled shit or something. I don't know.
DJ Khaled. That's all he contributes to the song. Now it's a DJ Khaled
they're two
song.
totally different artists, so I definitely have to figure this one out. Let's
okay,
hear how this beat
let's see what he sounds like. So let's. Are we back in the groove?
Mm.
Nice. Oh man. Yeah, I'm feeling this immediately.
Yeah.
He's going back to his hard hitting flow. I really like this track.
Did Hit Boy like force that track on there? Like you like he said he left more like in this one he said like, he left more flows in Pro Tools sessions than people with old school methods.
Oh,
you
nice.
know, when people, if you think about it, the people recording on the tape and record and stuff like that. But also it's interesting because like the last track, No Tears, did Hit Boy force that out of the Pro Tools session? It was like, no, Nas, you made it. Come on, let's put it on here. What if Nas is like, I don't know about this on it, but Hit Boy is like, no, come on, let's let the audience decide. So no, I'm glad they got back to it. I'm very interested to hear how Wayne's gonna come on this because Nas already kind of spazzed on this already. Like he was really going hard.
The Jordan, Kobe, Braun talk, take a long walk. And then this is really dope. I love his flow when he's saying the brand new beings, NAS and Wayne. Don't threaten me with a good time. We're here to stay. Nasty. They don't make them like me. Mask up, all black like I'm Pooh Shiesty. Truth too. I'm like Detroit Red in a zoot suit, loose screws. Any challenges, I find a loop through loopholes. That's why they treat me so bad. Club Nouveau, like this shit
Yeah,
is
he
just.
just and he was nonstop with it,
Oh
right?
man,
Back to back to back to back. He was no
no,
pauses, no breaks. He basically doesn't take a break until he gets to the chorus and he start
yeah,
kind of a little relax a little bit. But it was a good time for him to kind of take that break.
I agree, and so I'm curious to see what's going to happen next with Little Wayne, how
I
he's going
think
to
Wayne
match this
gonna bring
flow.
it, man. I think Wayne has actually been getting better lately. Well,
Yeah,
after he's come back, you
yeah.
know.
It'll be interesting to see what Little Wayne sounds on the track. Very nice. Wow, nice.
I want a Wayne and Nas project. Like,
Yeah,
give me an EP. Give me
this
7
is
songs of Nas and
wow.
Wayne over some boom bap beats with Hit Boy. That might be the new what is it, the Cactus Jack or the whatever the collabs that Metro Boomin be doing with the various artists on it. Like I could hear Nas and Wayne project right
I
now.
think Nas and Wayne need to come out
Yeah, I
with
mean this is
with a
a
new
good
track.
combo.
This is
Like I
incredible.
wasn't sure, but Wayne is Wayne is actually backed off of a lot of the auto tune stuff he was doing over the years and getting back to his rapping that he was doing like more on the Carter 3.
Yeah, yeah, of
And when
course.
Wayne does that, he is like even Jay-Z said that he had to question whether or not he was the best rapper alive when Wayne dropped the Carter 3. And
I
when
remember
Wayne
that.
raps like this, it's he has a compelling place. He
This
can say he's top 5 or
but
for
you know
sure.
but you know who we can credit for all this? Nas. Because obviously
Yeah,
Little Wayne is drawing inspiration
yes.
from Nas.
He not gonna get on here and throw no booty track on there when he
No.
know he on Nas.
Icons, stepping on pythons, spitting that cayenne, eat ya like Zion, peeking at the skyline, reaching for the stars like I'm reaching for the pylon. I sent you on the sideline. We need to walk a fine line. We need to read the guidelines instead of reading timelines.
Man, he was just going in, yo.
Oh
He
man.
said you know money on my mind, I be on your wife mind. I hit it with the pipe bomb and pass it down the pipeline. What
Oh
the
shit.
what the
Oh shit.
these
So,
dudes
man,
eating on this track.
I hit her with a pipe bomb, then pass it down the pipeline.
What was No Tears just like a pump fake where he like no, hold on, I'm coming back with Wayne. Like this is a dope track. This is
Yeah.
a dope track.
Shots I got 100 and problems I got 99. Bugatti Veyron, take off with no flight time. Just not even bad bitch in the passenger side. She don't even like flying. Booty soft as nylon. You N word small as a micron. Shit.
Sheesh.
That's some nice
Yeah,
bars.
Wayne and Nas is a great combination.
Low credit, high crime, open mind, tight rhymes. When they hear my lines, these rappers gotta catch up like Hines. Man,
And as corny as that is, he made that fit in there and it sounds good
it
because
sounds
of
good.
the way that the first rhyme started off, right? And like normally I don't like bars like that. I'll be like, anybody can make that. But because he's going in such detail with the first line and everything else that he's doing, and he's using line kind of all throughout the flow, man.
He's got a very
yeah.
thematic flow.
Yeah,
So it's nice when it's kind of like, with great power comes great responsibility, as they say in Spider-Man, that when you have talent, you can use it in multiple facets, multiple ways, and it all depends on how you're using it. Are you using
Yeah.
it to create infomercials for designer drugs or cars or Cavassier, or are no shade on Snoop Dogg, I love it, or Ludacris, But the thing is that here we see Lil Wayne repurposing his talent to talk about things that are more centered on Nas's narrative. And
Yeah.
I love how he's fitting in his skill set within that environment.
And even Wayne is showing some maturity on this track, and I think that it's important that artists continue to evolve, like Nas was saying, constantly evolving, like not just waiting for their time to end, right? Like trying to keep putting out the best music possible. So this is a dope track. This is definitely. I'm glad that No Tears kind of bounce back quickly with Never Die.
Agreed. And so next up, we got off Nas Magic 3 live reaction here. We got Pretty Young Girl. Let's go ahead and see what this is sounding like. All right. I see where he's going with this. This is pretty dope. I like again the visual imagery that Nas is talking about. Um, I tried to find that woman no later than tomorrow. Her body shaped like Jean Paul Gaultier perfume bottle. That's dope. When I find her, I'm gonna roll through, smoothing the ghost coupe. Make sure to hop in, listen to Big's vocals, see if I get a sign of intellectual. Trying to test her to see if she's got some hip hop knowledge.
Yeah, and then also I think this reads almost like one of those dating profiles where you're like, what type of girl you into? 5'5", 135, you know what I'm saying?
Likes
Like,
hip hop,
yeah,
you know.
she's from Queens, maybe over here, I want her to be intelligent, but
Knows the struggle, but she
I
got some
also wanted to be a
ambition.
little wild and freaky too. We can go ahead and do some interesting things. I like that he's talking about the trip he's gonna take her on in detail, like taking her to the Atlantic Ocean because it's more warm over there. And it's like,
Yeah,
like you say, the imagery. It's a story here, and even though he's just talking about a girl, it's still a very interesting track.
it's interesting.
It's not. No, it's not as good as the previous track, Never
No,
Die.
it's
But
not.
this is still a good song, and I like it, and it fits into the narrative of what Nas is doing on this project.
If we caught a vibe, that'd be incredible. We probably break box springs near hot springs like we on edibles. It's so
Yeah,
easy.
yeah, yeah.
It just flows off your tongue. I'm not anywhere near the rapper that Nas is, of course,
He
but
said, I make her listen to poetry, hit a jazz club, ask her would she leave if I was down to my last dub. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, when you get a real one,
yeah,
it's important, like it, you gotta have somebody that's actually gonna hold you down in the tough times, and I respect that.
agreed, agreed. Fantano didn't like that song very much because he was like, Nas is trying to rap about this younger girl, and we don't want to hear that shit. So I don't know, but
What's wrong with a pretty young girl?
but
I mean, I guess everybody's fluid nowadays. So I'm not gonna say what.
hate on Nas's
Yeah,
game
no, I'm not gonna hate on Fantano. Maybe he's just
in his own space too.
into some other stuff. I don't know. Me personally, I like pretty women. That's my thing.
What's the next track that we got up?
Next track we got is based on true events.
All right, let's hear how this goes. Okay, we got
Big
a real
horns. I like
cinematic,
that.
yeah, big band sound here. Sounded dope. All right. Private investigator shit. All right. So what we're seeing right here is definitely a return to traditional Nas form,
Yeah.
where he is one of the inventors of the storytelling version of hip hop.
Yeah.
He's one of the ones that popularized storytelling inside of hip hop. And for this, we see this. It's almost plays out like the dialogue for a movie. I think Nas should hook up with the baby to create the music
Video for
video
this, yeah.
for this. And we look at our other reviews that you can see from our last episode that we reviewed. We talking about the baby's most recent music videos. What was that track that we reviewed? What was it called? By the baby, where it was this crazy situation. We had the
Which video of
comedian
his isn't crazy? Are you talking about the last one, Ghetto Girls,
Ghetto Girls. That's
which was
right.
a
Yeah,
remix to the Cash Money track
right.
from back in the day?
So in Ghetto Girls, we see the baby as a producer come in with this very cinematic storyline.
Yeah.
There's a beginning, middle, end, even an epilogue section on the credits, and so he's really getting into that. As I made that humorous analogy, he's like the Stanley Kubrick who does interesting shit like Clockwork Orange. He
Yeah.
actually produced these crazy fucking movies that are pretty out there, kind of in a David Lynch Mulholland Drive way, right? I could see the baby joining up with Nas. Would you guys like to see the baby produce a music video with thematic storytelling elements for this track by Nas?
I mean,
Let us know in the
that might be
comments.
too over the top, but I'd be intrigued by it at least. I'm not sure about this song. I'm not gonna say I like Nas when he's storytelling, and
Yeah,
I'm trying to catch up with the story. I think the beat is quite too repetitive for me, and I'm like, I'm really trying to get to his lyrics, but I think the beat is attracting me. Once again, very much like No Tears.
I can see that.
Yeah, and it's like I like what he's talking about. I think the story is interesting. I feel like he's gonna get deeper and deeper into it. It looks like it's actually the next track is a part two to this. So let's see where he
Yeah,
actually ends up on this track.
let's
Because
see where he's
I
going with
mean he's
that.
like asking all these questions about this dude in the photo, and I'm not sure where we at on this yet.
Yeah, I mean that's like private detective shit. Also in a lineup.
Yeah,
We'll
he's
see.
not really rapping. He's more like he's narrating a story over a beat.
Yeah, it doesn't really sound like hip
And he
hop.
has other songs where he talks about money or guns and like being a gun, and I think they're more compelling
Yeah,
as far as stories are concerned. So
agreed.
let's see where this one goes.
Okay, so
I like this guy.
already I can tell like the first part of this was like ad lib setup, and then the second
Yeah,
part it's like you were talking about doing a Travis Scott switch up
yeah.
where it's like ambient in the beginning, then the beat drops or changes, and then it's hard hitting and rapping.
Part two is a lot darker, right? Part
Yes,
one, he's like chilling with the girl, asking a whole bunch of questions, trying to figure out. And part two, he like,
he's
oh no,
going in
shit
on
then
it.
got real,
He's
yo.
going in on it. So yeah, that's pretty dope. Let's go ahead and see how the part two continues to play. Okay, I'm getting lost on these lyrics. There's no way I could listen to this and not tune into it. I can see myself listening to this track, driving around to my old haunts, to the hood I grew up in, and then just kind of replaying events out of my own head. Some of the best lyrics that I love out of here, because he's telling the story. Nas raps. He pulling the valet. He playing Jackson 5 Maria, pouring good burgundy, drinking wine by the liter, $1 million ideas. Son of thinker, but he's surrounded by negative peers, minds of seventh graders, several haters, several losses, had to get his weight up. Happy belated, gorgeous. He sent the text to his ex. Her tattooed chest where her necklace rests. She covered his name, thinking to himself, no other girl could love him the same.
Mm.
It's just, wow. I'm taken into that. It reminds me of Thug Life, Tupac tattoos. It reminds me of very, very 90s, reminiscent for me for a lot
Yeah.
of these lyrics here. What are you thinking about it so far? What do you like or
I mean,
dislike?
this is a song, and I feel like we gotta listen to these again. These are some songs that I don't want to overreact to. I like the beat. I definitely like the flow on here, but it's so detailed in what he's trying to do. And then we only through the first verse. It's a lot going on here, and I'm once again Nas
Yeah,
is gonna tie this up at the end because that's what he does with these types of songs. He's telling a story, and you have to get to the end of the story to actually know what's going on because it's like he's telling it in narrative, like as it's almost like he is it's a first person type of story, so it's
yeah,
not like he's like he hasn't zoomed out yet and really giving you an idea of what's going on. Obviously it sounds like this chick that old boy is dealing with is a bit shady, and it could be a setup. That's what I feel like is about to happen here, just based on the darkness of the beat
yeah.
compared to the first one. Like something bad about to happen to old boy.
I This is
Cause he
not.
just hopped on the
This
plane.
is
She
look.
said, "Come, hop on the plane." Oh, I'm in Madrid. Like, yeah, I feel like, and that's his ex. And she's just like, I feel like,
If a girl who has held embittered resentments against you for years suddenly wants to meet up in a new location, I would
I don't
probably
think
be a
it's a good idea, right?
little hesitant to make that decision. But you know what? I'm just gonna go out there on a limb right now, and I'm gonna say it. This is not a hip hop track. It's an audiobook.
Yeah, yeah. No, this is
It's an
definitely.
audiobook.
I'm gonna have to listen to part one and part two a couple more times and be able
I'm
to
gonna
parse
email Nas's PR team and ask them if I can just reproduce this on Amazon
it.
as an audiobook. Get
Yeah,
an
nah, it's
Audible.
some great storytelling here for
Get
sure.
an Audible for this. And what's the next track that we have up after this one?
The next track is "Sitting with My Thoughts."
Sitting with my thoughts. Now we've never known Nas to be that reflective, so this is
Exactly.
such a new approach. I wonder what he's gonna do for this. Sitting with my thoughts. Nas Magic 3 live reaction on Front of Jump. Damn. Already,
Mm.
that's a very poignant picture. Nice. Already, I'm just gonna have to say I'm a big fan of this track when he's talking about name dropping and he's saying that look at this money machine. I love what it sound like. And he said before that ESPN couldn't cover all of my highlights.
Mm.
Follows that up with and Nipsey would have loved that I'm working with Hit. He might have took me to 6-0 and turned me a crip. It's all money in XO in my cup. I'm sitting with my thoughts again. Like this
Yeah.
is very nice. And it's also it speaks to the hip hop culture because we look at these situations where we have Nipsey Hussle who was coming up very much kind of like a new Tupac and his generation, where he's able to be not only a hip hop artist but a young leader
Yeah.
of his community, of his block.
And he
Having
was heavily involved. Like doing all types of after school programs
Started
and
co-working
community outreach,
programs
and he was just doing things that are not usual for a rapper to do, right? Normally they just get money and floss. Like he was doing that too, but he was also taking his time to give back to a community
from where he came
that's
from.
very damaged, right? And people looked up to him from all avenues, and for him to die so tragically,
It's
basically
unfortunate.
just by the hands of a hater, not even like a real street beef, like,
No,
like he wasn't
wasn't
really
even some
doing no
gang
gang
shit.
banging stuff no more, like, because a lot of people were judging him because he was
Going back in the
very
hood.
much entrenched. No, just because he was entrenched in gang culture. Like people would be like, "Oh, Nipsey's not that good guy. He's a gang banger. Why are you guys glorifying gang bangers?" It's like that's a part of life when you're in the hood. Like, and just because you banged at a certain point doesn't mean you're a
Well,
bad or evil
it
person.
also doesn't mean just because you go to the streets that you automatically a gangster or gang banging. We also saw Fox News calling Common a gangster rapper and how he's the reason why the youth is suffering when Common is actually a pretty conscious rapper.
But I think about it like, in order for those people to get out of those situations, they need somebody who
Is a
is like
leader.
them, right?
Yeah.
Or somebody they can relate to. If there isn't a Nipsey Hussle, a guy who actually lived that life and made it out, or a 50 Cent or a Gucci man, it's like, who can they model after to get out of those situations? And I get tired of people knocking somebody because they had a past. You can
Yeah.
grow, you can mature, you can develop, you can move past that, and those people are the ones, like, I
I
mean, if you
agree.
think about Malcolm X as a prime example of a person who basically had all this trouble in his youth, went to prison several times, and then became a spiritual leader
Yeah.
for pretty much all of the black Muslims in this country, and saved a lot of lives because of that, because people could relate to the fact that he had actually been through what they went through, and that messaging is just that much stronger. It's just like
Yeah.
when we
I
talk about
agree.
the stuff we talk about, it's like
I
we want to
agree.
be relatable, but it's not because we're forcing ourselves to be relatable. It's because we actually been through this
No,
shit.
it's being real has a lot more staying power than I've read this in a book somewhere.
Yeah,
Let me
man.
regurgitate what the prominent sociologist theories are about your kind of people. It
Yeah,
that's
your
that,
people.
that's what we see happening. Well, it's
Yeah.
the same thing for me because I literally grew up living on the streets in a cardboard box. There was nobody at school that could really speak to my situation of having
Mhm.
to have an adult life as a young 16-year-old. And so
Yeah.
at that same point, you look at motivational speakers that try to motivate these kids or at-risk youth who've lived in poverty, who survived abuse, who survived drug use, who survived early incarceration. The first time I went to jail, I was 16 years old, jumped by 4 people in the homeless shelter I was staying at, but I was charged with assault because I whooped their asses so badly.
Yeah, it
And
happens,
and,
man.
and then someone else is going to come along saying, I know what it's like. And I'm like, okay, you pasty ass motherfucker, you have had a trust fund, you've never struggled, you've never been in poverty, you've never had problems with drugs, you've never served time. How are you relating to me?
Yeah.
Right. And so it's the same thing. It goes across everything else, is that when you have someone that looks like you, that has been in the same situations that you have been in, it's a lot more representative. We look at people of color that are saying, why should I support these politicians when they don't look like me, haven't lived like me, and don't understand me?
And
Right.
it makes perfect sense. It's
Yeah.
why, you don't get a high turnout for voting in political things, because automatically they're going to distrust these people who come from these very white collar
Right.
backgrounds, who've graduated from Ivy League schools. It's just hard to trust that. I mean, even black people have distrust for Obama just because he had so much early success in his life. And yeah, his wife being from Chicago probably had a harder upbringing. It's still just tough to relate to people who don't have your same story.
Right.
So it's good that Nas understands that his messaging reaches beyond just the streets now as
Yeah.
well. So
And I think that's very powerful when artists that have a platform realize what influence they can have, and they deliberately and intentionally use that platform for better change. As long as we're not talking about some crazy Tea Party Republican tweeting out flat earth shit or crazy stuff like what's that one woman's name from North Carolina that keeps making headlines? Oh man, she's like a
it's
QAnon. woman.
Yeah, she
Oh
got
man,
kicked. She got ran out of a
yeah,
second town or something like that.
it's crazy. That's called abusing your platform. Not you or the
They got some weird theories
yeah,
too,
it's some
man. I'm like, I'm
strange
like,
shit.
I'm like,
It's some strange shit.
yeah,
I'm not
it's
about
almost
that.
it's almost unbelievable the QAnon stuff. I'm like, that's what y'all believe in? Like,
Well, and I can't even understand some of these motherfuckers that try to get on all these crazy conspiracies. Look, I know that there's some shit out there that obviously, when with funding, with revolving doors, with lobbyists and government, that isn't a conspiracy. It's fact. There's corruption that goes on. With,
yeah, absolutely.
with like these defense contract companies rebuilding Iraq after the war. Was that? I mean, there's questions to be asked about that. But motherfuckers that are flat Earths, all you have to do is get a weather balloon and put a camera on it and float it up. It's not hard. It's not hard to see this.
People want to believe in what they want to
It's
believe
not
in
hard.
because it makes it easier for them to exist.
No, it's
right? Instead of
stupid ass shit.
Warping their minds with real reality, they rather just fill it with bullshit.
No,
right?
it's crazy. It's crazy. All these motherfuckers. So looking at a Nipsey Hussle, looking at Nas here, using the platform that they have to actually provide good intel on how to survive the streets. I love that shit. And it's dope as fuck. It's as dope as an Aston Martin, or also another favorite car of mine, a Bentley, bringing us up to the next track, Blue Bentley on Magic 3. So let's take a look and let's see what Blue Bentley is. This reminds me of his track off one of the King Disease albums, Blue. What was it called? It was Benz was in the title, I believe.
I don't know if I remember that one.
I forget what it was called. So let's go ahead and check out
Blue Bentley.
Blue Bentley. Yeah, I'm curious to see what that is. And we know Nas is everything that he's talking about. So Nas is he's got millions of dollars. So if he's talking about a Blue Bentley, he's probably got 5 of them. So let's check this out. Let's see what it's like. Oh wow, that's nice. Oh, this is nice. I like the rhythm. So this is dope. We're gonna mute it for a second because we don't want to get copyright strikes. We're gonna listen to the rest of this.
Hey, he flexed it up this Blue Bentley track.
Oh, very
I
nice.
think he's having some fun.
Yeah.
This is kind of the first beat that sounds more modern as compared to the other ones on the project. They definitely have more of an old school vibe to it.
Well, here's my question: does Nas really have a party track? Does he actually have a track that is kind of a club party track? I don't. This is kind of the closest I'm hearing to that.
Nas kind of got pushed off of that because he had, on that Nostradamus album, which is notoriously known for being, one of his like corniest, most commercial albums. When he kind of did that song with Genuine, I think people definitely were like, nah, you can't. But it's like, it's not that Nas can't do a party track. It's just that people don't want to hear that from him. Right. And it's not fair because I think Nas can do what he wants to, but because he drops so much knowledge on all of his tracks, when he tries to do a party track, I think like he had that Uchi Wally. I'm gonna say Uchi Wally was probably a decent party track.
I can see that.
Yeah, I don't know if Nas is, your typical party rapper, right?
I like the lyrics he's saying again in his storytelling, though I don't think this is a made up story. This is definitely a real life story. Met her headed to Coachella in Indio. Other one had a B&B. She 50 dough.
It's crazy, man. No, like so my wife is an apartment locator, right? And a lot of people come to her because they have difficult situations. But it's just crazy some of the people that she's meeting like later in their life, and they're like, like 50 years old, and they got these like, they got assaults, they got scam, they got fraud cases, they got all this stuff, and it's just like,
sounds like
why are you still committing crimes at 50? Stop it, get your life together. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
I don't know. Maybe they like the food in jail. But it's he goes on to rap. In my business, they want to stick their nose. think I'm wild and like Deuce Bigelow, Mel Gigolo. I'm a gentleman, open the car door, holding hands. They both hit my line. I might crush them like soda cans.
Yeah,
Two.
nah. This song vibing, yo. It's a vibe. The Blue Bentley is definitely pretty cool.
No, that's a dope track. So far, I'm saying, I think there's a couple tracks I would probably skip so far. Maybe
Yeah, a
maybe
couple.
three if we're talking about,
This is definitely
you know,
competing with Magic One. Like I'm gonna have to go back and listen to Magic One.
yeah, this is better than Magic
This
2.
might be my favorite Magic, right? Like I think so far
It's gonna take
he's
some more
done a great
listens.
job, and he has some tracks in here that I gotta sit down and listen to. Like the
What we got
basically the
next?
based on a true story part 1 and 2.
Yeah, what we got next as
So
far as as
the
far
next
as
track we got Jodeci member.
do you know what that means?
If you don't know about Jodeci, they were a famous R&B group from Houston. Drake has sampled them a lot.
Oh,
And
okay.
they're just super iconic. One of my favorite songs is actually a Bun B track where he remixes Your Everything. And I
Well,
think
you know
that
we like Bumpy here in the Dirty South.
yeah. Nah, I know. That's why I brought him up. You know what I'm saying? The Port A, you know what I'm saying? And Bun B
Okay,
Pimp C, they
let
definitely laid it down
oh,
for
of
the Texas
course,
scene.
and Rip Pimp C. So let's go ahead and check it out. Let's see what it's like. Jodeci Magic 3.
We already talking that shit. You talking that shit.
Some of these young boys tight. Some of these young boys tight like I got their wives.
And
Oh,
some of these older guys looking like I stole their lives. Like he didn't do nothing. He just living his
oh
own
man,
life, man. Like
oh man, this is dope. This is dope. All right, let's keep listening. I like the transition to the hook here. That's real nice. I like those vocals. One of the things that I love about Nas and Hit Boy's collaborations is there are those moments, especially when he gets in this very cinematic vibe. It's very well produced, but it's a different kind of production that we hear from a Kanye West, or a Lupe Fiasco,
yeah,
or a Future, or another one of those really overly produced artists. It's different. It's still got that kind of 90s boom bap, but it's got more depth with these orchestral sounds where he's
yes.
filling in, where we hear the chorus coming in with the
The sample
strings.
game is being crushed on this project. Like the vocals that he's picking out and the way that he's doing his breaks are just potent, man. Like and it makes sense. And Nas is good at letting the beat breathe. So when those samples come in, he's not trying to overtake them. He's letting them actually play out, and
Yeah.
then he's kind of speaking in between them. So he's fitting in that space, and that to me is really important. If you're gonna sample vocals from an old school track, you want to still give them some presence,
Yeah,
right? You
and
don't
you
want
wanna
them to
match
just
it.
be over top or overdone to the point where it doesn't make sense for the song.
Yeah,
So
you gotta sound real. Try me on like some threads in a fitting room. Try me like putting new art on the wall in the living room. This is very nice. Again, his descriptive visual. When is Nas gonna come out with a book? This guy's clearly a
yeah,
writer. He's
yeah,
very good at it. I would say, independent of being a hip hop artist, you just listen to how he puts words together. And one of the, it reminds me of our interview with Wordsworth
yeah.
on
I
our
was gonna say
channel,
Wordsworth
which
did that,
which y'all
man.
can check in our videos on our channel. MTV's Lyricist Lounge co-creator Wordsworth, and he talks about how, as a hip hop artist, he's got these tools in the toolkit, and not every tool will match every project. Where sometimes it is some newish shit. It does require some auto tune,
Yeah.
but sometimes it doesn't. But he said, beyond everything else, hip hop artists are writers.
Yes,
It's a
and it's
different
important
perspective.
to make sure you understand that you're a writer and you're already writing. And so when he wrote his book, all he did was take his rhymes, put them in a book, and then break them down and to try to get people to understand like where his thought process was. Because I would love a behind the scenes on what Nas's thought process is when he's writing songs, because he's definitely very creative in how he
Yeah.
strings things together and stories. It's just like, man, this dude's just full of so much knowledge.
Well, and that's one of those things where we always want behind the scenes. And sometimes I'm curious, how do these lyrics come together?
Yeah,
Is this based on a real story, a movie, a friend's story? I think there's been some questions about credibility for Kendrick Lamar's actual street experience.
yeah.
On Good Kid, Mad City, he talks about, what would you do if you heard that I killed, a guy when I was 15? And it's like, well,
Yeah.
did you? Is that said for effect? I don't know.
Hey, nowadays you gotta be careful putting stuff like that in your rhymes. Please,
Right.
please stop dry snitching on yourselves, rappers. That
Well,
is
you
putting the
Kodak,
game in.
Kodak Black's infamous
Young
IG
Thug,
lies with
man.
the drugs and
Apparently,
the
right
guns and
now,
everything else
yeah,
is like,
like
yeah, don't self snitch on that, because then it becomes a self fulfilling prophecy. But what's the next track that
we
we
got
got?
Speechless Part Two.
Speechless Part Two. Okay, so let's check this out. Let's see what Nas is bringing with Speechless. Does it make us speechless? Okay, I'm already hooked. I'm already this is starting off strong. It's very nice.
Yeah,
You know, unlike the earlier track, where when we were listening earlier to one of the previous tracks, we talking about the first track for Based on True Events sounds more like an intro. No
No
Tears.
Tears is
It's
whatever.
just I feel like that's a track we could have been left off the album and no one would miss it.
But most of the other tracks have been great, right? I
Yes,
would say,
I'd agree.
I mean, we're basically what 13 songs in, and
We
we
just
only got
got two more tracks after
uh,
this one.
out of 13 songs. I would say I like most of them, and it's only two of them that I'm just like whatever. And I mean, No Tears is a definitely no. The other one could grow on me. Like I think based on true events, I just since it's a two-part story,
Yeah.
I need to sit down and take some time with it. It's gonna be like reading a novel. I
Agree.
can't.
I think some of these songs will definitely require more listens, but let's see where he continues to go. And we could definitely vouch he is still selling out arenas when we caught his tour with Wu-Tang Clan
Yeah,
live at
that was
the
such an amazing
Germain
show.
Amphitheater outside of Austin, Texas. And then a surprise feature by
Oh
Busta
man.
Rhymes, who just destroyed the mic. I think I literally saw smoke coming at the microphone.
He was rapping so fast that the screen couldn't keep up with
No,
his lyrics. So it wasn't. It was abnormal to watch it
it
because it
looked
looked
like
like
ad libs
looked like he was like lip syncing or something. Like I
because
mean,
he was so quick
Buster
on
is
the
definitely
no.
legendary, yo.
And
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 see him live was definitely a lifetime
he's
moment.
definitely slept on in this
Yeah,
modern era. But I would say Nas, we can say for certain, is his street cred is verified, and
yeah,
the fact that he is selling out arenas even at age 50, with 50th anniversary of hip hop coinciding with his 50th birthday. It's like, wait, did
yeah.
Nas create hip hop? What's going on here?
And that show was amazing
It
too that they did
was.
in New York. He obviously a part of that, and there was definitely some people like LL that was mad that some people didn't come out right to support it. And it's funny. Joe Budden just recently came out was like, we need to have a meeting in hip hop because hip hop's in a dark place, and I
I,
don't know about that. I
not
mean,
for Nas.
I feel like this it's like scare tactics. He's in the media now, so he has to kind of be a shock jock in a way, and I don't know. I mean,
A
you got
shock jock.
Nas dropping Magic 3. Like, is hip hop really in a dark place, or are we just focused on the dark moments?
That's a good question. That's a good question because hip hop has expanded beyond the boundaries of the traditional boom bap and gangster rap from back in the day. We had the mumble rap era. We have Hamilton. We have these large ensembles. We have people doing genre bending and genre
Yeah,
blending. We've got,
exactly.
like, when we interviewed Chesky Ramos, who
Yeah,
was part of created the record label Fake Four, right? And he was in our studio. He talked about blending the genres of punk and hip hop together,
yeah.
which you would never think about. So, is hip hop dead? I don't know. Let's continue on with the next track, which is going to be the Japanese Soul Bar. So let's go ahead and pull this up and take a listen to hear what Japanese Soul Bar. I'm curious about this. I know Nas is definitely a well traveled person, so let's hear about what Japanese Soul Bar is. Nas already talks about a big issue in hip hop in the beginning of this track, Japanese Soul Bar off Magic 3 for this live reaction about owning your own masters.
Hmm.
This is so important because if you don't, you're just going to basically be beholden to the record labels to do whatever the fuck they want with you. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
some wisdom dropping on early on in this track. Let's see how the rest of it's going.
That
I'm
switch
feeling
up is
this.
nice,
I'm
man.
feeling this.
Like it goes from smooth then super jazzy when that saxophone comes in, and it's nice,
Beats
man.
on
Like, and
point.
he's talking about once again, the hard difficulties that you have to face as an artist, not really knowing how things are gonna go. If you're gonna have to go back to the streets. And it's definitely a thing that a lot of artists face, especially nowadays with these 360 deals, where it's like you don't really get to see your money. I think one of those big things that uh, I'm, I'm I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he recently passed away. It was a younger artist out. He was out of New York, but he was in Cali when he passed. But he was basically coming out and talking about how, although he had a very successful career, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's seeing him everywhere. He didn't have no money. He wasn't getting the type of money he was expecting. Like, yeah, you see
You
all of this
know,
stuff.
and
You
we
see all the
also,
commercialization of people having chains
yeah.
and cars and big houses. But if they spend their money on that, then they just gonna be in debt to the record
Well,
label.
that
So
reminds me of like what Vince Staples was talking about on Joe Budden's podcast when he's talking, saying, "Oh, if
yep,
rappers really wanted to live the image in their hip hop music videos of buying that $700,000 house, but on their own dime, but they didn't get enough money from the record label to actually live that life in real life, they're
yeah,
just putting themselves into poverty all over again."
yep, absolutely.
I like his references to some of the most famous hip hop producers and producers in general, is Rick Rubin talking about Wanted Dead or Alive, should have been platinum 5 times, G Rap, a young Russell, Rick Rubin, and Fly Tie ran the music biz. Andrea Harrell saw the future is hip hop. Or he talks about the hotel balcony, Lewis flip flops, meeting in the mezzanine. I love this shit because he's talking about an earlier era when he was getting produced by Rick Rubin and when he was working with these legends in hip hop and where
Yeah,
he's at as a legend in hip hop now. Again, the imagery is very vivid and talking about, been thinking about who could play me in Tokyo, Paradiso, Belize, karaoke. I'm participating in singing Barry White. This is very nice. This is very nice. And then after that, the next track we
we
got up
got the
is
final track.
the
One
final
eight
track.
hundred Nas and Hit Boy.
One eight
Call
hundred
them up
Nas.
if you need a track, cause they got it.
You remember when those 900 numbers first came out, and you trying to sneak see if you could call one, but then your parents get the charges, and you're like, son, what were you thinking? Why is this $300 for 30 minutes? Who
Oh
is
no!
Stephanie?
Oh
Do you know
no!
this person?
Oh no!
This is a different kind of 1-800 number. It's not 900. It's 1-800 number. 1-800 Nas and hit. See, now I want to like pull out my celly and I want to dial that. Like, wait, is this like an actual phone number?
Yeah, like with the Mike Jones thing.
Right. It makes me wonder. It makes so let's hear what they got in store for us. Last track, Magic 3 live reaction. Nas 1-800 Nas and hit. Let's let's hear it. Okay,
Mm,
I'm liking this. There's some hard hitting bars. He's referring to Malcolm X. If Malcolm was a rapper, he would say some shit over the breaks. Come out with neck snappers, I promise. They would be slinging the same song as me. Probably not killed by the CIA or the industry. Know where the black hands be on black blocks. No backstabs or sad plots. We let them rot. This is very nice. Let's see how the second verse
It's like an
goes.
alternate universe that he's building in essence.
Yeah, an alternate universe. Let's go ahead and check it out. How does the second half sound? Okay.
We'll spin the block. Yeah, hey, I'm calling you right now. Now we need that. We need Magic 4. We need KD 4. We need Illmatic. We need a new Stillmatic.
Oh, this is great. This is great.
Will y'all take a break,
this is
Oh,
this is real
man.
talk right here.
Yeah, man.
Nas releasing
He's
80.
having fun, man.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters when it comes to artists and artistry. You know, I want that vibe. Like, yeah, you could be serious or not serious, but are you enjoying yourself? Or are you just out here doing it for the check because you tied into a 10 album deal and
I mean,
people get, kind of drugged through the mud?
And
Like,
they're not
albums,
doing-
Nas
they're not-
having so much fun.
well, and they're not doing it for the passion anymore. When it
Yeah.
comes down to it, when they're like, okay, I need to satisfy my record deal. I need to make some money, and the motivation isn't I need to get my words out to the world, right?
Yeah.
With Nas, he's already made it. He's got millions of dollars. He doesn't have to release
He
albums.
does not have to rap.
He chose to come
Especially not in such breakneck pace of dropping 6 projects.
80 songs in the past 6 years is what Nas has released. And it's fucking wild. It's crazy. And we don't know if this is the final album. It's kind of been portrayed as the final album. I think he has killed off the KD, series after King Disease 1, 2, and 3, which you of course can check on our channel as well for our reactions to those albums. But it's crazy. And he's in the pocket like Killer Mike meets LP with him and Hit Boy.
Yeah.
That duo really does well.
And I think I'm gonna have to say that the energy from this project is so great that I probably like this more than Magic One. Like I'm gonna go back and listen to Magic One. He has some more like dark, hard hitting bars, like more street stuff on Magic One. But this one's like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
He feels like he's very focused. Like his flows are very tight on here. Most of the beats he's matching up to. So overall,
Agreed.
I mean, it's only
That's
I
dope.
guess it's only 2 songs on here where I'm like,
okay. I think it's probably 3 songs for me where
Okay.
I'll probably skip them, but everything else is really good. I've looked at the online reviews from other sources. People were panning the album. Some people said it sounded like throwaway tracks from King Disease or throwaway tracks from earlier Magic album, and I would have to disagree.
This doesn't sound like
I would say
King
Magic
Disease at
2
all.
fits that description
Yes.
more than Magic 3. Magic
sure.
3 sounds like he brought that momentum and that fire back. And also, what's the biggest trend right now when it comes to business and marketing? Artificial intelligence, AI. Even Nas had to talk about this, staying hip on Speechless Part 2. He talks about AI is only here to replicate and control, limiting the original, then grab them a mold of the binary code. It's your patterns they stole. This is my technical flow. This is my tactical flow, the one they can't redesign. You can redo the voice, but you can never read my mind. And I love the fact that even this old school artist is keeping up with what's going on right now when it comes to AI. I would say when it comes to album weight class, right? To rate this album, and you guys comment down below if you agree or disagree with our views of each of these tracks. But I would say for an album weight class, KD3, for a comparison, I would say is heavyweight, a knockout, right? Versus a song like Pushin' P, which I would say is more of kind of a lightweight track, not a middleweight. A middleweight track I would consider would be more like, I would say, if we're doing by the track, I'd say Fever. The first track is a middleweight track,
Yeah.
whereas like Superhero Status, I say it's a heavyweight track. So with that kind of comparison for how we're judging this is what I would rate this album: solid middleweight, not heavyweight, but a solid middleweight. If we're doing weight
If you're
class for
talking
this
about
album,
projects, yeah, I'm gonna say middleweight. But I feel like it's like a Mayweather fight, right? Very defensive. He went all the rounds and he won by decision, right? Like
yes,
by the end of it all, you can look back on it. This is a very listenable project. I think several of these songs will probably end up in a playlist for me. Unlike Magic 2, where it was really lightweight to me.
it's
I don't feel
background
like
music.
we didn't come back to it. This has some pretty dope songs on it. And I mean, this is a nice tie up to everything that he's been doing with this kind of 6 project sequence with Hit Boy. So I really appreciate, Nas doing all this work right now. And, this is definitely what the game needs. I mean, I know a lot of people be like, oh, well, it's not trendy. The beats ain't modern.
Well,
some people are like, oh, it's just, we've heard Nas rap over boom bap, but like what? It's like
that's what Nas does.
Yeah, but it's like, why is that a bad thing? People like lemonade, like Jay-Z said, and they still like lemonade. Like ever since the invention of it, people continue to drink lemonade. You don't have to switch lemonade up and make it anything different. It's an enjoyable
Eminem
drink.
may have killed Jay-Z, on Renegade, but Jay-Z still likes the track.
Yes, exactly.
So I would say, stay in your lane. If Nas tried to release an album that was 100% auto-tune, I would say maybe not. Maybe it's not your lane, Nas.
I don't want
it was already a little questionable on one of the King Disease tracks with him and Lil Durk releasing that track together. That was a little questionable of those mixing of styles.
He made it work, right? And I think that it's interesting how he transitioned from that first King's Disease where he was getting a lot of features. It was almost like he was building his buzz back up, right? And he's like, hey, look, I can stand with the rest of these modern guys.
Agreed.
But by this project and really Magic 2 and 3, he only had one feature on both. And it's like, people forget how prolific that is. Like the only artist that's doing that right now is Gunna. Yeah. Right? And I think that's why Gunna's succeeding so much is because he's basically taking out everybody else, all of the filler stuff, all of the features that may not hit. And he's just coming with his own ideas and letting that shine through.
It's no fluff. And when you build a loyal fan base, you want to make sure that you're honoring your fans as well. Yep. And I think Nas does that by staying on brand really well.
Bars. We want more Nas bars, and we don't want the extra stuff.
I think it's dope as fuck.
Although the Little Nas or the Nas and Lil Wayne EP, they should call it Lil Nas. That'd be dope, right?
So no, don't mix the brands here. Okay, that's different. But this is what we want to see. We want to see a Lil Wayne and a Nas collaboration album, because that feature with Lil Wayne,
that was Nas, fire, yo.
This was one of the hottest tracks on the album.
Yes, absolutely.
Lil Wayne and his matching with Nas, bar for bar for bar, was outstanding. So let us know in the comments below, what did you think about Magic 3? Did this live up to your expectations for what Nas is going to come out with? Or are you going to agree with someone like Fantano, who we like and respect, but who said this sounded like throwaway tracks from earlier King Disease projects? I disagree with that evaluation.
Yeah, I don't think it was throwaways. No. I think it was very thematic, and I think it stayed on theme the whole
I agree as well. So. I agree as well. So let us know in the comments what your favorite Nas album is. Is it one of the most recent ones of the King Disease series, or was it Illmatic? Comment below. Like and subscribe, and tune in for another episode of From the Jump.